Joel, Nintendo Switch 2 is real. Well, let's move on to Xbox. All
Yes.
right. So, yeah, Nintendo said that the Switch 2 there is like, yeah, we'll announce it in this fiscal year, which is more than likely going to be like February next year. That's what it is. But big news this week, Joel, is Xbox. So, they announced that they were closing 3 studios, folding 1 studio into Cinemax. All these studios are Bethesda studios. So Arcane Austin, Tango Gameworks, those are the big studios. Alpha Dog Games is a mobile game division or mobile game studio that they had acquired that was part of Bethesda. And Roundhouse Games is the one that's getting folded into Cinemax. Um, all right. And then there's also a new controller coming out. So this guy's got more controller colors than games coming out, dude. It's phenomenal. It's going real well over at at Xbox. So yeah, as Freudian slip there, sir. Yeah, things are going phenomenal at Epcot too. Um, so Disney already did. No, not gonna run it today. Screw that. Okay, and then so Tango made Hi-Fi Rush, which by the way, this past Monday I went ahead and bought it.
Oh, that's crazy.
But then
Wow.
and then this thing comes out, and then freaking I don't what I it's just like here's the problem that Xbox is having, right? Xbox has it's funny because I sent you a video from the even pre Eisner Disney and from Yesterworld, and then how Disney used to talk about all the things that they were gonna do and never did, right? This is the same problem. That's the same problem that Xbox is having for the past 10 years since Phil Spencer took over. Everything they've talked about is we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do this. Nothing ever happens. I have the joke, like running joke. I've said it before on the show. Like Xbox fanboys are like the QAnon of gaming. Oh, this thing's gonna happen. Nothing ever happens. Right? Like what the heck, guys? So um, I don't know, man. I so what really irks me, right? And Xbox spent $100 billion acquiring, right? And people said, and fanboys were saying, "Oh, buy this one, buy Sega, buy Capcom, buy all this." Why? So they can just close them up?
Stay away.
Yeah. Like if I would be any studio right now, and Xbox would come by and say, "Hey, we're gonna buy," no, no, no. Why would we do that? Right? Like at this point, I wouldn't sell my studio to Xbox. I would just stay indie and not make a ton of money. I would rather do that. But Matt Booty comes out then yesterday and says, "Oh yeah, so we need to do more smaller stuff like Hi-Fi Rush." It's like just close the damn studio. It's like they have like no. I don't know. They don't. Who's writing this thing for them, right?
Yeah.
Who's writing? Who's market? Okay, so first, like there's glaring problems with marketing. There's also glaring problems with leadership, right? It's like, oh, we bought all these studios, but we didn't know it was going to be so hard to manage all of them. So that's why we're just closing them down and giving other studios to do their thing. Might as well just not buy anything. You know what? Xbox bought Activision to become Activision. Honestly,
Yeah.
like they don't like why is Xbox not dude Ninja Theory is next. Like Hellblade 2 is gonna come out. It's not gonna sell anything because it's gonna be on Game Pass day one, and I don't think they're gonna close Ninja Theory, but I think Ninja Theory is gonna do like Bungie, and they're just gonna, hey, we want to be indie again. Can you let us go?
Wow.
And yeah, I think those guys are probably very very scared right now. All the other studios that are working on smaller projects at Xbox or Microsoft Game Studios, be careful. At this point, anything's on the table. I have a prediction. Well, I don't know if you want to write it down on our predictions list, but
Do you do you
when
feel comfortable with this, sir?
when
What are you wagering?
I am not wagering anything.
Just a statement this time.
Let's see, Xbox games, summer game, whatever. Let's see, summer showcase 2024. When is it? June 9th. So June 9th is their summer showcase. Bro, I'm not a betting man, but I would not bet. Gears of War and Halo are coming to PlayStation. They're gonna get announced on that day.
Wow.
And that's it. And that's the end of Xbox. And then they're gonna come out with that mid-gen refresh, and that's gonna be it. And then Game Pass is gonna be on. Game Pass is gonna be on PlayStation
Wow.
and in PC, and also Game Pass is gonna have a substantial price hike in the next like 90 days. Like we've said it, we talked about it. We think it's great. It's unsustainable.
Yeah, no, seriously.
and that's what's catching up to them right now. It's like, I mean, I don't know whose great idea was to put day one first party AAA stuff on Game Pass. That was an awful idea. Yeah, it's great for the gamers. It's like, oh yeah, there's things on Game Pass. Let's go ahead and play it. But you need those like brute force sales, and you need to have that income coming in. It's like, if it weren't so, there's some Xbox financials out there, and if it weren't for Activision, they wouldn't have made any money, like this past quarter. And their hardware revenue is down like 33% or something like that. Like their sales are tanking. Like they closed their only Japanese studio. They they have like no foothold in Japan, like no traction. Europe slowing down. Yeah, there's the U.S. loyalists, but how long is that gonna, like, how far is that gonna take you? Go ahead, man.
Can I pause you for a second?
Yeah.
As you were talking, I went through predictions. October 19th, 2023. You said Microsoft is going to be laying off a bunch of people from studios they purchased within 6 months to a year.
6 months to a year.
Dude,
There you go.
exactly what you said on that one. Nailed it.
Yeah.
100%.
They did it. They did what, almost like 1900 in January. Now this bunch of people, and they said that they're not done. So
I'm putting a green check box next to that one in the it happened.
it's like, I mark myself safe from shrimp or pineapple on a pizza. But Joe, take it, man, because I can keep going. But yeah, man, it's bad. Things are looking real bad. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, like this is the slippery slope. We kept talking about the road to recovery because we don't want to see these things happen. This isn't us over here throwing a party about
No.
here let's all jump on the bandwagon of beating down on Xbox. Like, no, I don't want to do that. They just make it too easy. So like when you're like, by the way, we're cutting ties with X, Y, and Z, and we're slimming things down. but we've got another game controller coming out to you. Look at this hand. Don't look at this one. That's just not a great business model.
Right.
Someone on the PR side should have said, hold on a second. We might get roasted for putting out a new controller right now because this is not what the people asked
Funny you
for.
said roasted because it's like lava red or something
Right,
like
right, right, right.
that.
You know. Um, so yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that like it's not like it's cool to have multiple controller colors, but it just kind of starts to be silly. Just when that's like the timing of you releasing this around, that you probably could have delayed the releasing of this or done it
Oh, the
before or something. They knew
announcement.
this was
Yeah.
coming. The announcement. This is
Right.
not read. That's like read the room, bro. Read the room.
Yeah.
Um, but like I just feel for all of these studios because that was one of the big talking points you and I had about like, wow, they really opened up their purse. They brought all these people in. They're gonna just start going games heavy, or at least trying to over the next few years. Obviously, like we just joked about, you made the prediction where you were like, no, it's not sustainable. They're gonna start closing doors and people are gonna losing jobs. It's not we weren't saying because we were wanting to see people lose jobs and places get closed down, but it's just kind of obvious when there's a trend in the way that they've done their business. There has been no major changes, and that has to do with the top. Like, it's an unpopular thing. We've been saying this on the show for like the last few weeks. Like genuinely, if Phil Spencer does not leave, things are going to stay the same and they're going to put themselves into a corner where the company will not be able to recover from the Xbox side of the business. Microsoft's
Oh
fine.
no, no,
We're going
yeah,
to
yeah,
see
yeah.
through.
Microsoft's doing
But
fine.
specifically
Yeah.
on their games
Yeah.
division, they're putting themselves into a corner where any CEO executive, the board that's going to be looking over these numbers is going to say, cut ties with this thing. We're losing money on this. Is a losing battle. You've had years. We opened up our purse when we said, go buy all these studios, go get Bethesda and all these other big things, go do all this stuff.
Right.
And this is not the results of real. How do we get to this point? It's just clearly again the leadership side of things. They went in buying stuff that they didn't have the greatest plans or intentions for a long term vision with. And now, unfortunately, for these poor companies that, yeah, like the top people that sold them, they walked away with a nice check before all this went down. But, the individuals that actually put their heart and souls into games, that this industry that we love, they're the ones that have to pay the price for someone else's lack of vision.
Right. And I've said it many times here. It's like Microsoft doesn't have a good track record with studios. Like they've
Yeah.
always like either bought them and closed them, or bought them and didn't do anything, or bought them and had them do something completely unrelated to what they used to do before. They don't have a good track record. Like I saw this coming a mile away. This is not a surprise to me.
Yeah, we have it in writing.
Problem is, and I can't remember who said it. It was either it was a developer or someone that's in the industry made a comment on Twitter. Said that the problem that Microsoft's having is that they won't shut up. Like that's why Nintendo and Sony don't talk to anyone. And Microsoft is like, oh no, we're here, we're pushing the industry forward, and it's like, dude, Indiana Jones is coming, Starfield, Indiana Jones, all those games are coming on PS5. Like
Oh,
what
for sure.
Spencer is, what Phil Spencer and Matt Booty, or was it Matt Booty and the other lady did,
Yeah.
and that thing. No, bro, that was like damage control, and
Phil
they
didn't look like he wanted to
that
be
was
there.
no, they were lying.
Yeah.
Like they were straight up lying, dude. Like
Yeah.
I feel bad saying it, but they were. Like they were there because they wanted to damage control, and because they needed to damage control because of their awful messaging. Because every like again, see how awful the messaging is. Where close the studios. Hey, we need games like the ones that this studios used to do. I, I, it's frustrating, right? And excuse my language, but like, and this is something that we could probably do on Patreon. Maybe we can do a PG-13 show on Patreon, but this could be a sneak peek of what's to come. But a lot of these executives, not only at Microsoft and some other big companies, right, that we talk about in the all the time, have their head so far up their ass that they just can't fathom them being wrong. And why is it so hard for someone in a position of power to accept that they're wrong, right? And it baffles me, right? It's like what something that I learned right throughout my entire life, something that I learned, you know, when I was growing up, when I was in college, when I was working. If I'm wrong, I take personal responsibility for what I did wrong, right? I didn't have to wait for anyone to teach me that. I learned it myself, and you know, if I make a bad choice, I made a bad choice, right? And there's no one to blame but me. But no, oh no, the current you got Phil and Matt Booty out there. Like the current state of the industry and AAA game development costs and cycles and all this like corporate nonsense. Where are the games at? I'm still waiting for the games. Like we're 4 years, what, almost 4 years into
Yeah.
Xbox Series X, and your first exclusive is coming out. Like, yo, what's their first exclusive? A game that's been in development for like 6 years. That they confirmed it's about 6 7 hours long, bro. I'm not saying that the game's gonna be bad. I think the Hellblade is gonna be great, but that's not gonna move. That's not gonna move consoles. It's not gonna move consoles. It's a niche game. It's an art house game. It's like those artsy fartsy like Oscar movies, right? Like they're not for everyone. They're for the Academy. They're not for the they're not for the average viewer, right? I want to swing like Spider Man. I want to shoot giant robots. I want to do like all this stuff, right? I don't like, which is just the I'm a little deterred from The Last of Us because of that same thing. It's very art house, and it's like, yeah, no, I get it, right? But at least The Last of Us is 20 hours long, and it's at least it has a really crazy and really good story to tell. So that's great, I guess. Um, yeah, man, this is like all over the place. I really like, my heart goes out to all these guys that are affected, and I'm sure that you know there's opportunities out there, but it's becoming increasingly competitive. Considering that there's now like 10,000 game developers out there that lost their job
Yeah.
in the first 6 months of this year. That's coming from Xbox and other places that have made cuts, other studios that have shut down. It's a bad year for the industry, in the sense that a lot of people are getting let go, but there's no accountability on the top, right?
Right.
And that's the problem that we're seeing here. It's a problem of leadership. Spencer came in, dude. At least Don Matrick had games on the pipeline. Like Don Matrick came out with the Xbox One thing and TV Connect and whatnot, right? But hey, at least like Scalebound was a game that's being developed, and
I
you
know.
know other new stuff that got canceled, because all that got canceled when Phil Spencer came on board. He canceled everything. Crackdown was the only thing that came out.
We saw that worked out.
Yeah, right. I was supposed to say wait for E3, man, and wait for Crackdown, wait for E3. Yeah, man. I don't know. It's things are looking really really dire, and then when you mix it up with sales, like Xbox is making money right now because of Activision. Like Game Pass has been stagnant. They're not getting new people in. uh, People are not buying the consoles. They're not making any new big exclusives. Everything's now either third party. Everything's on PC. I don't know, man. It's Yeah, they bought out to Activision to become Activision. They don't
Yeah.
they want to get out of the they want to just become Xbox Game Studios and not Xbox anymore. I don't think Xbox as a brand is going to be around for, I don't know, maybe 10 more years if that. So,
I can see that. Like it's, I mean, if we've talked about how, like, for example, they had an opportunity to work with Insomniac directly when they talked about Spider-Man early on.
right.
And had they had made that deal of exclusivity for Xbox, and yes, like, if Microsoft really did go to, sorry, if Insomniac really did go to them first, that means they were willing to make that deal. And I probably would have considered, if that game came out, seeing how amazing it is, and I would have seen the things coming about it. There's a possibility right now I would have had a Series S, maybe even a Series X, even because of something like that, to like us to get my foot in the door, to get me a start, and then, like, they build upon that momentum. But there's been so many missteps to not see that that push forward. It's tough. It's real tough.
It is. It is. Um, and it also gets me. It's like, oh, why does PlayStation get like third party exclusive stuff like from Square Enix and other companies, and Xbox doesn't get anything? Because Xbox, like, what third party in their right mind would go and make an Xbox exclusive game?
Right. Which is why, like hearing that even Insomniac went to them first is where you're like, whoa, like
Right.
that sounds crazy right now, because you'd be thinking like you're gonna lose out on a large sector of gamers because there's
Right.
not their base is growing. But yeah,
And it
right
also,
now,
yeah, it also gets me. It's like, oh well, Sony closed a couple of studios earlier this
sure,
year. No one said
sure.
anything about it because Sony, those were like legacy studios that Sony had owned for many years. They just didn't just buy them and close them
Correct.
down because they didn't. Right. That's the
Dude,
thing
that's
with
stuff like Adobe does and stuff, dude, where they would go and buy apps and then close them down because they were
it's
competition
it's
or
it's
something.
old school Microsoft stuff. It's
Yeah,
that's
Microsoft used to do that.
the
Yep.
Microsoft used to do that in the 90s. Yeah, they would buy
Man,
like Skype and all this stuff and then just close it down.
man.
Yeah, bro. It's like they're back to, yeah. Adobe was like that, man. You're right.
Yeah, dude.
Adobe would just buy stuff straight up and
And
just
just
to
kill
close
it.
them down. And that Microsoft used to do that a lot in the 90s, right? And um, wow, man, they're back to that, right? Like they're like back to like buying everything just so they can shut it down. It's like, so what did they win by, like, right? They wanted to buy Bethesda because of like Fallout and Elder Scrolls and all this
Yeah,
stuff, right? And like
totally.
all this like ancillary stuff, like the like Tango and Arcane. That was like, oh well, that's like when you go to Burger King, you get your Whopper and you take the tomatoes out, right? That's basically what it is, right? It's like, oh well, you can't really buy the I can't order the Whopper without tomatoes and onions. So well, I guess I'll still have the Whopper, but I'll just take out the tomato and onions. That's exactly what it is, right? So it's unfortunate. I think these are very talented studios, and they, you know, the two mobile studios I can totally see because now they own King, and they don't need like smaller mobile studios, like, oh yeah, or
Right,
the
right.
whales are the whales. So but man, Tango did really good stuff, and so fortunate. And I'm sure, like, there's a rumor out there because Shinji Mikami left Tango last year. um and there's a he opened his own, like, another studio, like his own other studio. So there's a rumor out there that a lot of the Tango people actually went with him. Like
Oh,
he
wow.
took a bunch of the guys. So maybe he's gonna, maybe those guys are probably gonna land in a good place. I know, like, Nintendo's hiring, right?
Right.
Nintendo came out and said that development is getting uh, a lot more complex and time consuming than before. So maybe they need the extra hands. Um, Capcom make a bajillion dollars. I know Capcom is looking to like expand and do more things. So um, I don't know, man. At least for the Tango guys, I know the Arcane guys. They can probably just come band together and make their own thing. They're very talented. Um, so I'm sure they can do their own thing. But I don't know. I just like I saw this coming a mile away, right? And I didn't want to be a negative Nancy about it,
No, no.
but you could see it. Like this is the way Microsoft operates. That's why every time they bought something and people got really excited, I'm like, I don't know. I've been around long enough
We'll
where I
see.
know how Microsoft operates, and that's exactly what it is, man. You know, Ninja Theory is probably next, and after that, who knows, right? I don't think they're gonna make like giant cuts, but yeah, it seems like if you're not already working on your next game, you're probably gonna get canned, and it's scary. Like, it's scary for the Ninja Theory guys. It's scary for even Obsidian. Like I don't know if they're working on Avowed, but if they already don't have anything on the pipeline, what's gonna happen, right?
Yeah.
Um, like I'm scared for the smaller studios that they purchased. Um, I, I don't know. It's just, and now with they're thinking about getting Call of Duty into Game Pass. It's like, why would you, like, Call of Duty gets you billions of dollars a year, and you're gonna just cut that? Like you're gonna like cut your revenue in half or whatever? Are you gonna, like, what kind of company does that, right?
Right.
I don't know. I don't know. I think that, like I said, I think the mid gen refresh is gonna happen because it's already in the pipeline. They probably spend a ton in R&D, so that's probably gonna happen. But that may be the last Xbox. That may be the. Do you know? It reminds me of Sega during the 32X and Saturn days. And I'm talking about Sega of America. Sega of Japan, like Saturn over there, did really, really well, and they had the games to prove it, and it's great, right? But Sega of America, when let's do the 32X. What's the 32X? Well, it's a 32-bit add-on to the Genesis, um, but we also have another 32-bit console coming out in like 6 months, and yeah, so it reminds me of that. Like it's like they have no clear path. Like they just keep buying stuff, but what are we gonna do with it? I don't know. Close it. We own the IPs, but I feel's gotta go, man. Like Phil, the only thing that Phil's done in 10 years is Game Pass, and people loved him because he was out there talking to people and having breakfast with them or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that. Again, even Don Matrix had games in the pipeline. Like, what are you? It's like what, bro? And everyone hated Don Matrix, right? but at least he had a vision, right? It wasn't the
Yeah.
right vision, but it was a vision. And with Phil, like it seems like there's no clear vision, right? Stuff got canceled. Game Pass became the thing. They're buying all the studios to close them down and not really do anything with them. So I don't know. It's gonna be an interesting rest of the year for Xbox.
Oh yeah.
And from what I've seen, a lot of the fans are not happy. Like hardcore fans, like, a lot of them are not. I saw a few out there that are defending it. Sure, right? It's it is what it is, and you can take it however you want, and but uh, you know Phil's not your friend, man. It's like that's the problem. I was like Bob's not your friend, Phil's not your friend. Like these guys are not your
Right. Right.
friends, right? Like they're there to make money and respond to shareholders and in the case of Phil, the CEO. So they gotta if the division's not making money, there's no growth, right? Xbox or gaming is the only division of Microsoft that didn't see growth. It saw growth when Activision got folded in, because then you got all the Activision money coming in. But it's artificial growth, because you grew because you bought these guys that are like bringing a ton of money with them, but you didn't really grow your division. Um, yeah, sad. I know. I've been critical of PlayStation too. Like, it's kind of scary because they don't have the person out there talking and saying the things like they used to have. But maybe that's for the best.
Yeah,
Maybe not having a Shuhei out there,
Jim Ryan.
or Jim Ryan, or Sean Layden out there talking. Maybe that's for the best. Maybe they just do their thing, and that's it. So I don't know. Um, that we'll surely have Xbox updates here in the coming weeks, and then June we'll do all the coverage for Summer Game Fest. So yeah, man, that's what it is. I don't know if you have anything else to add to Xbox.
No, no, man. It's a it's a heavy one that you just will be watching closely.
Yep, for sure.